Hello everyone, how's it going? Billy Ballgame here, back with another video. On this channel, I'm just a dude who loves to talk about baseball cards. And bear with me on today's video, because today's video is going to be a little bit different type of video for this channel. But I'll explain everything in short order. So for today's video, I really need your assistance. Most of my channel's videos are about, SGC submissions, cards I've picked up, cards I'm thinking about picking up, local card shows, all that stuff. Today's video is going to be not that. So for today's video, what I would like, or really the purpose of today's video, is I need all you guys' help. So I'm going to show you two different stacks, we'll call them, of cards. And I would like your general thoughts on, would you buy from stack A or would you buy from stack B if everything were equal? And here in a minute, I'll start showing you some cards and it'll make more sense. But what you'll find on both stacks is these cards are roughly in the $2,000 to $3,000 range for specific grades. So the first cards that I'll show you are from stack 1. I'll put those there should be 5 in each pile, and I'll put those on the screen now. So what I'm not looking for specifically like which card you would buy out of each group. I'm not even looking specifically at the cards. I'm just asking, what would your preference be when buying roughly $2,000 to $3,000 cards? Would it be the types of cards that are in stack 1, or would it be the types of cards in stack 2? Maybe not necessarily those specific cards, but the specific cards play into account, because all of these cards are cards that I'm considering. So I'll go ahead and pop stack 1 up. Just take a minute to look at those types of cards and take them all in, if you would. What you'll notice is these are some really amazing, iconic baseball rookie cards in the grade of 1 or maybe a 1.5, a 2 at most. And really, in that stack of cards, stack A, if I were to buy those types of cards, a 1 in all reality is probably what I would be most comfortable being able to budget. And again, some really just awesome, iconic cards within the baseball card hobby. There are a lot of cards in here from the 30s and some in the 40s. And again, these are all huge, amazing, iconic cards that I never thought I'd be able to afford ever. So that is the types of cards that would be in stack A or stack 1, however you want to label that. Then the second stack, which I'll put up now, are also amazing, iconic baseball rookie cards. Not quite as old, but they're still some of the most, in my mind, iconic rookie cards in the baseball card hobby. But what you'll notice is there's a stark difference between the two piles of cards grade-wise. So stack 2, I can afford nicer versions, nicer examples, or more highly graded examples of the cards from stack 2. I think the grades range from 3, I believe, for the Hank Aaron, up to 7 for Nolan Ryan. And I wouldn't necessarily want to buy a 7 if I were buying a Nolan Ryan rookie card. I just put that in there to keep, because that falls between $2,000 and $3,000. So I just put that in there at that grade to fall between that range. So take a look at those. And now I'll give you my thoughts on why I'm asking this question and need your input. So again, they're both amazing stacks of cards. The first stack being lower graded, the second stack being higher graded. Now, all things being equal, and this is hard because there are a lot of variables in there. Like if I could buy a Willie Mays 51 Bowman in a 1 or a 1.5 with maybe a pinhole or a crease across a corner or some paper loss on the back, like I absolutely would do that. But let's take as many variables out of the equation as we possibly can. So let's say that whatever stack of cards I buy from, pile 1 or pile 2, pile 1, I will buy an average SGC 1, and I will pay average VCP price for that card. I think the cheapest one is maybe the Satchel Paige or the Jackie Robinson Bowman. I think they're both around $1,900. I could be mistaken because I've just looked at a lot of cards and come up with a lot of different numbers. The Willie Mays, I think, is $2,700 for a 1. The Ted Williams, I think, is around $2,400 for a 1. So some really good cards, but a lot of money for lower grade cards. So again, let's take variables off the table because there's going to be a huge premium based off of eye appeal for some of those cards. Like I've seen tremendous ranges on the Willie Mays, the Jackie, the Ted Williams, based off of eye appeal for that grade. Some of them might be $2,200 for a specific card. Other ones might be $3,300, $3,400 for a specific card. So I want to take all those variables off the table. I want to just keep everything as equal as possible. So the first stack, everything is going to be your average 1 or 1.5, and I'm going to pay VCP average prices. So keep in mind, stack 1 is all lower grade cards. So those cards are more expensive than stack 2. So for pile 2, I'm going to pay average VCP prices for those grades. I'm going to find average cards for those cards in those grades. So everything being equal, would you prefer to buy cards out of the first stack with the Ted Williams, the Jackie Robinson, or would you prefer to buy cards out of the second stack, being a little bit higher graded, nicer eye appeal? Roberto Clemente, Nolan Ryan, Ernie Banks, different stuff like that. And I'll tell you why I'm asking you guys your opinion on this is because I'm not going to the National this year. No, this is not another video on the National. It's coming up soon though. I wish I was going, but I'm saving my money for Strongsville for next year. And I've already started saving. So I'm going to save back my July budget. And I think that I will be close to halfway to what I want my budget to be for Strongsville. Now, Strongsville's a ways out. It's still about, 8, 9, 10 months out. But I like to plan ahead. I want to get my budget in, or start getting my budget in order, and start targeting, or at least in my mind, certain cards. And you all know that I've sold a bunch of cards lately, and I didn't have a massive collection before. And now my collection is even smaller. And you know how much I love rookie cards. So my focus is going to be on Hall of Fame rookie cards, primarily in baseball, even though I love a lot of hockey rookies, a lot of basketball rookies, a lot of football rookies. Like I've been eyeballing Ken Dryden rookies, Guy Lafleur rookies. I would love a Wayne Gretzky rookie. And there are a lot of Hall of Fame rookie cards in basketball and football that I want. But I'm trying to stay focused on baseball Hall of Famers. So every single one of those cards that I've shown you guys, I need those cards. They're Hall of Fame rookie cards, or as close to a rookie card as you can find. Like, for example, the Joe DiMaggio 38 Gaudy heads up is not technically a rookie card, but I think in some cases it's commonly accepted that that's a rookie card because it was widely distributed. His true rookie cards are 37s, but they're either ridiculously expensive or super hard to find. So those types of cards being expensive, and they're all expensive. Like all these, like I said, are $2,000 or $3,000. A $2,000 or $3,000 card is a huge purchase for me. Like I can't just go out at any minute and buy a $2,000 or $3,000 card, and most of us can't. So I've got a plan for things like this, and I don't think that there's a right answer in this. I think it's just all a matter of preference. They're all amazing cards, and I really can't go wrong if I were to buy any of them. But I just want to know you guys' opinion. Would you rather buy the more expensive, lower grade cards, or would you rather buy cards that aren't as expensive, relatively speaking, in higher grades? And I go back and forth on this all the time because I think if I'm true to myself, I would fall into category 2. I would buy lesser expensive cards in higher grade. But there are so many cards that are just tremendous and iconic in the baseball card hobby that I want. And the reality of that is, if I want cards out of column A ever in my collection, which I do, I'm going to have to buy lower grades. So this is a debate that I go back and forth with myself on all the time. Again, there are no wrong or right answers. It's just a matter of perspective and opinion. It doesn't stress me out. Like I said, I'm just a dude that loves to talk about baseball cards. And probably if I'm not engaged in something with my family or one of my friends or something at work or whatever, like I'm probably thinking about baseball cards. So a lot of the time, if I'm not talking about them, I'm thinking about them. And these are the kinds of things that I think about because, again, to me, buying a $2,000 or $3,000 card is a huge purchase for me. And it takes a lot of thought because I like to analyze, I like to plan, I like to be prepared, have a list made, and all that good stuff. So I really wanted to know what you guys' thoughts on that are. And I know some people that will definitely fall into the first camp. My buddy Chris from Missouri, my buddy Justin from Go Crazy Card Collecting, my buddy Joe from Redneck Collector would definitely fall in that first group, and Drew of Vintage Legacy would probably also fall into that first group. I think in a perfect world, I would be able to buy higher grades of Group 1 than I can, but that's not the world I live in. So if I'm true, or if I'm being honest to myself, I think a big part of me would prefer to buy cards from Group 2. I talked to my buddy Tom earlier and got his thoughts. Everything being equal, he said he would probably fall into Group 2. I think my buddy Coop would fall into group 2. And there's some others of you out there that would probably fall into that second group. Darren, a return to collecting, I think would fall into the second group also. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. I feel extremely fortunate to be able to even have this inner conflict of what $2,000 or $3,000 baseball card am I going to target at Strongsville. And I'm happy that this is actually a conversation and something realistically that I can do. And please don't take this the wrong way. Like, this is not a flex. Like, hey guys, I'm going to buy a $2,000 or $3,000 card. I may buy a $2,000 or $3,000 card, but I've got to start saving up almost a year in advance to be able to do that. So I don't take these purchases lightly. And up to this point, I've bought 2 cards that were more than $1,000, and I don't have either of them right now. I had my Bob Gibson rookie that I bought at the National for all of 45 minutes that I traded up to buy my Hank Aaron rookie, which is now in my buddy Tom's collection. So two cards worth $1,000 or more that I've bought that I don't own anymore. So I don't plan on selling these. I don't plan on selling any cards for a long time, at least cards that mean something to me. So again, this is something I have to think about. This is something that I have to put some time and effort, because this isn't a purchase I take lightly. And for some of you, there are people that bring $20,000, $30,000 to the National. They can buy 10 $2,000 cards. I would like to think that they still put thought into buying the cards that they do, even though they can buy 10 cards at $2,000 a piece. And I'm sure that they do, and I think that that's amazing that they can do that. And part of me is maybe a little bit envious of that, but that's the reality. Is that's not the situation that I live in. I am fortunate and grateful that I'm in the situation that I'm in, to where I can even consider buying a $2,000 or $3,000 card at a show like Strongsville. So please don't take this as a flex. And to me, my thought process is, if you want to buy a card like that and add it to your collection, I hope that you can. Because a few years ago, I was in no position at all where I was thinking about buying a $2,000 or $3,000 card. A few years ago, my biggest purchase up to that point was a 60 Topps Mickey Mantle that I paid $800 and something for, and had to save up 4 months to be able to buy. So it's definitely not a flex. But at this point in my collecting, I'm at the point now to where there's so many awesome cards that I want, that every bit of money that I spend in the hobby is going to be money that I spend with forethought. And I'm going to buy a card that matters, that I'm going to want to keep in my collection for the long haul. Because there are a lot of them, and I'm not buying cards like this anymore. Like, this was a whim purchase a few years ago off of eBay, because I had a little bit of extra money left over with my budget that month. And I like Dustin May. I think Dustin May's got a lot of potential. But I have thought about giving that card away. So my life, I'm not going to find myself lacking in any way, shape, or form if I don't have a Dustin May rookie card. Like, I don't, that's not a card I dreamed about having since I was a kid. And all the cards that I will be buying in the near future, for probably the next several years, are going to be cards that matter, that I've wanted forever, that I never thought I'd be able to buy, that I want to have in my collection forever. And so with that, I've got to make sure they're cards that I'm happy with. Now, group 2, I'll be happy with those cards all day long. I would buy the best version of that card that I can afford. relatively. Like knowing Ryan, I would probably, in all honesty, buy a 5 or 6. My concerns with cards from the first group, and I'm sorry I got a little bit long-winded and sidetracked, which I frequently do, but my concern with the cards from group 1 is that if I bought a card in a 1 that was an average 1, it's going to have creases, it's going to have paper loss, it's going to have heavily rounded corners. I know my brain and how it works. My concern with buying those types of cards is that I would not be happy with the condition and obsess over the fact that maybe a Willie Mays rookie card had a crease going right across his face. That puts more variables onto the table because I obviously would not want to buy that card. I would want to buy the highest version of a 1, highest eye appeal of a 1 that I can buy. But I might not be able to get that at $2,700, which is I think what its average VCP price is. I might be able to get that at $3,300 or $3,500, but that doesn't allow that card to stay within my budget more than likely. And that's my concern. It goes back to the question, and I've asked people this: if you could afford a 52 Mantle and a 1 is all you could afford, would you buy it, knowing that you've got $40,000 sunk into a card that may look like it was ran over by a truck? And I think there are some of you out there that would buy that as a 1 and be completely happy with it. And I love that. And in a lot of ways, I wish my brain worked that way. But I know there's also another group out there, which is the group I would fall into, is if I couldn't afford that card in a grade with the eye appeal that was going to make me happy, then I wouldn't buy that card, and my brain would think about all the other cards that I could buy and spend that money on. So that's really my only hesitation with buying the cards from group 1. If I knew I could get high version of eye appeal for 1s or 1.5s, because there are some really sharp cards out there in those grades, especially with the way the grading companies are grading now. Like, if I could get a high eye appeal example of a 1 or a 1.5, I'd buy it all day long. But I'm trying to keep the playing field level. If I add that variable in there, then of course I would buy cards from group 1 or group A. But my main concern is because $2,000 to $3,000 is such a big purchase to me that I think I would obsess over that if it were your average 1. Now, like the Hank Aaron that I bought, it was a 2, and it had a crease in it, and it had paper loss. It had 2 spots where he had rubs on his face. One was like on his forehead, and one was down here by his chin. But I was so happy to have that card. I didn't care about that. And so part of me thinks that that's what I would do if I bought a card in group 1. So again, I just want to know your thoughts, because again, they're all big cards, and those are some of the cards that I could put on my list for Strongsville next year. And in all reality, if I buy one of those cards off of the list, that will probably be the only card I buy at Strongsville. So again, that's not something that I take lightly. So I hope that this thought experiment, not really experiment, me soliciting your thoughts made sense, and I was able to clearly enunciate my point, clearly get my point across, because this is the second time I filmed this video. I filmed one earlier today. It was 37 minutes long. It was purely a stream of consciousness, but I thought that maybe I didn't get my point across as clearly as I wanted to. So I talked to Tom about it and got his thoughts on the same question that I asked you all, and then I decided to refilm this. So I'm hoping that it makes sense this time, and you guys can bear with me on it. But yes, so please let me know, everything being equal, let me know your thoughts. What cards you would buy. Would you buy cards from column A? Would you buy cards from column B? And I'm not saying that it's going to sway my opinion one way or another, or sway my decision, because I haven't made a decision yet. But I'm just kind of trying to start gearing up the mindset for Strongsville, saving money back, all that other stuff. Because for me, to go 6 months without buying a card like I did before the National last year, I've got to play mental mind games with myself, because it's hard for me to go that long without buying a card. So if I have a big card in mind that I want to buy, like the Hank Aaron rookie card, I'm able to do that easier, because then I can say, hey, I'm looking on eBay, oh, here's this card that I want for 50 bucks. I can say to myself, do you really want that card right now for 50 bucks, or do you want to keep that 50 bucks to go toward your potential Hank Aaron rookie card? And then I'm more likely to keep that money back. So that's why I've got to start planning and doing research and stuff. In theory, I could afford better versions of these cards in either stack if I were willing to go a year without buying cards. But that just doesn't work for me. Like 6 months, that's already a stretch. If I go that long without buying cards, I don't feel engaged in the hobby. So that's why I'm starting to put money back now. And then that way I can put a little chunk of change back every month, still use half my monthly budget or more to put back for Strongsville next year, and then hopefully have a good chunk of change with me to buy the right card. Because I'm a firm believer that you can have a list, you can have a card picked out that you want, but the right card will find you at the right time. It will pop up for the right price, in the right grade, with the right eye appeal. It will pop up. I've bought so many cards that way that it to me almost seems futile at this point to even put a list together, because there's so many cards that I need, and I know the right one is going to pop up at Strongsville, and that will be the card that I buy. It could be a Wayne Gretzky rookie for all I know. Who knows? But it's just easier for me to plan. And I bought a cheap card this month on eBay the other night that hopefully will be here soon. That wasn't really a card I was even planning on buying, but I was perusing the ending auctions, and a certain Nolan Ryan player run card popped up, and the auction was about to end, and I figured, for this cheap, why not? I'll throw a couple bids out there, and if I win it, I win it. If I don't, that's cool too. But that's probably going to be the only card I buy this month. In August, I'll probably buy cards. I'll probably spend my budget, or most of it, on cards. And I may go to a show. I'm not really sure yet, but all of that is just because the National is 10 months away, or however many months, and I wanted to take a big chunk of money with me and buy a big card. But I've got a plan to do that, and I'm going to have to split my allowance up every month, either alternate it or take a chunk out every month for my Strongsville budget. Now I'm starting to ramble, so I'm closing in on 30 minutes. I hope this makes sense. I respect this community, so that's why I'm asking you all for your input. And as always, I appreciate your support of the channel. If you're still with me after this rambling 30-minute incoherent video, I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, if you would do so, I'd appreciate that. And if you would drop a like on this video, I'd appreciate that as well. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up at that one. So any thoughts that this provokes, or please, your opinions, put them in the comments below. I'd be happy to see what input all of you have, or other thoughts that you have regarding this topic. So until the next one, I hope everybody has a good one, and I'll talk to you later.